Today's day 44. I want to talk about pros and cons. You know, these are gonna vary for everybody for year by year, you know, as your career goes on, as my career goes on. So this is currently June 2021, but you're not going to see this video till the beginning of 2022. So just know that these are my pros and cons that I've considered over this past year, along with sort of the end of 2020, because I feel like 2021 it's like 2020 and the pandemic, and we're still going we're not really like going through it anymore, but it was just like dragged through 2021 for no reason. And I feel like the year's almost over and I don't feel like anything's changed. That's what I mean by that. So I wrote some things down for today. Yes, I do have a chin, by the way. I got a comment from one of you with like a surprised, I can't remember what you said. It was like, oh my gosh, you actually have a chin or something. Because it was a video where I had just shaven as well. So, yeah, I do have a chin. And I do have a very much so round Chinese face. So, first to start off, obviously, I'm going to start off with the cons and then we'll get to the pros. My first con is going to be being on the shit. Being stuck on the shit. You know, in the end of 2020, during the pandemic, I went out for 4 months, and because of the pandemic, I mean, these are extraordinary conditions, but I ended up going for 4, getting stuck for 7. And I'm not gonna say things like that are gonna happen all the time, but you are at the mercy of the ship. You know, there's times where if your relief doesn't come, you might have to do another rotation around, or another tour, another week or two to wherever you're going. You know, there's a lot of things where you will be dependent upon the ship for some reason. And that doesn't happen with land jobs necessarily. I mean, you're dependent upon like the paycheck, but you know, if you didn't need the paycheck, you could walk away from your land job. You can't just walk away from a ship sometimes, especially if you're in the middle of the ocean. It's not possible. So that's con number 1. You know, you can sometimes have no way out or be stuck here. I don't want to say you have no way out. There's always get me off of this ship right now, you know, and just quitting your contract, or you know, just you get what I'm saying, right? I hope so. We're gonna move on to the next one. One of the biggest ones really for me is, and these are all, like I said, these are gonna be, in my opinion, more so for me. These are gonna change for everybody. You know, some of these on my cons and pros list might not be on your cons and pros. They could be switched. Who knows? The next one I'm about to say is being away from my wife and my family. Some sailors I meet, they are more than happy to get away from their wife and family, surprisingly. But that's actually a con for me. You know, the past few years, it's definitely gotten easier. It's gotten easier coming out here, but I'm never gonna get used to leaving my old lady at home. You know, it's tough sometimes. You know, a lot of you that are on my Patreon, I still don't really know how to say that correctly, my Patreon page, You know, in the missing pieces, I do talk about some emotional stuff where, you know, things with me and my wife happen, and it can be hard being away from each other for so long. So that's con number 2, but really it's number 1. A part of that, con number 3, ties into my last one, is, you know, you're being away from your loved ones, and you're being away for events, birthdays, holidays. I've been lucky enough to pretty much choose when I want to come and go for work, and I've planned it, so I've been home for the holidays. A lot of guys don't get that lucky in planning. Some people, guys and girls, some people blow all their money up right before the holidays, you know, and they have to sail through the holidays. Like, I plan out my work year, like a year in advance. Sure, things there's another con. That wasn't even on my list, but there's another con. I plan my whole year out because I have to. I have to do it because I'm only making money in certain parts of the year. So that can be a con, but at the same time, it's going to go towards the pros as well. But I have to plan it all out, and things aren't always going to go how I planned. It never goes how I planned. You know, I might want to sail in January, but not end up sailing until February, you know. And these things have to be planned out, where with a job at home, you know, you're going there 12 months out of the year. You don't have to plan out your work. You know, you could think of being a sailor, being a merchant mariner. Oh, did I even mention that? These are the pros and cons of being a sailor or a merchant mariner. But you know, you could think of it like being a contractor. Basically working, you know, getting contracts and working for yourself. You don't know when you're going to get the next contract. So you have to plan accordingly with your finances and with your vacations and with what you're doing throughout the year. The only thing with being a contractor on land is you can somewhat plan accordingly, and you're still able to change those plans easier than when you come to a ship. You know, I plan to come to a ship in January, and I might not get here till February. Well, if I'm coming for 4 months, February, March, April, May, what if I planned a vacation in April, but I got here February, March, April, May? I can't just like, oh, hey, I planned a vacation like 2 months ago, so I'm gonna go home and then I'll come back to the ship. It doesn't work that way. My throat's dry. So that's, you know, that's the big con, is missing things, missing birthdays, holidays, and whatnot. Oh, a little con of mine, which it can be some of yours as well, is being on a ship. It really limits your hobbies. This has become a hobby of mine, making videos, making YouTube videos, editing. But if you don't have any kind of hobby, a lot of sailors don't. A lot of sailors come out here and they work, and when they're not working, they're sleeping. And when they're not sleeping or working, maybe they watch a movie, and then they go back to work or go back to sleep. To me, that's being on a zombie mode, like an autopilot. Like, it's not. I want more. I want to do more. I want to have something that is, you know, I'm actively using my brain for, not just for work, and I'm not just trying to watch movies, and I'm not just trying to sleep, you know, 8-10 hours a day, however much these guys sleep. The second mate on here, he's a real cool guy. We were just talking about how, you know, I've been bringing up this sleep conversation pretty often. So last night, I got about 5 hours of sleep. Me and the second mate have the same watch, we work the same hours. I got about 5 hours of sleep last night. Today I got off at 10. and I was off till 4 p.m. Well, because I got 5 hours of sleep, I didn't sleep during the day because then I wouldn't be able to fall asleep tonight. The second mate also got about 5-6 hours of sleep last night, and then he slept from 10 to like 2:30 today. Thinking, wait, you got like 10 hours of sleep? And I'm on like 5? But it's not like I could have got the same amount of sleep as him. But what was I doing? Making videos, editing videos, and working on stuff in my room for my own productivity, happiness. So that's a con. You gotta find some sort of hobby you can do on the ship, and you're really limited to the things you can do unless you're gonna build ships in a bottle or model cars, or I mean, you could draw, paint, but remember, you have to bring this stuff to the ship. So you got to think about that. If your hobby's been hiking, you can't hike on a ship, or mountain biking, you can't mountain bike on a ship. Your hobby's working on cars. It's not like you got cars to work on the ship. If you're an engineer, maybe you're in the engine room. I don't know, but that's it. The last con I want to speak of is food. This is both pro and con, but specifically why I put it in a con list is because the food's great 80% of the time. Sometimes you get an odd goat lamb meal with some au jus. You know, you get some like goat steak au jus kind of thing. But the con about the food is that you have no choice. I mean, there's always two choices of meals, but if I feel like having fettuccine, I can't just go down and make some fettuccine. I can't personally go into the kitchen and make up my own food that I want. It's not like allowed, you know. So if you're craving something and they're not serving it that day, you're not gonna get it because you can't just have it whenever. You're at the whim of the cooks and what they're making breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you don't like it, then you don't eat it. So that's kind of a con. Another con to the food is that the food is pretty good most of the time, and you can pretty much eat as much as you want. So if you're trying to watch your diet, it can be hard sometimes on the ship when you're pretty much given a breakfast, lunch, dinner buffet, and pretty much every single lunch and dinner there's also going to be some sort of desserts, cookies, extra snacks. Like, you're having a buffet with dessert, lunch and dinner every day. So let's move on to the pros. Okay, my 100% biggest pro is my vacation time. I can take anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 months off, mattering how I work my finances, how well I save, how well, you know, it's all dependent upon me. But I choose how much I want to sail throughout the whole year. At least with SIU. I have to at least do 60 days in both halves to keep my health insurance. So we'll say I at least minimum have to do 4 months within a year to keep my health coverage going. That's if I want to keep my health coverage going. So I can take up to an 8-month vacation and still have health coverage. What other job can you pick and choose how long your vacations are? And a part of that as well, I'm gonna link to man, you know, it sucks being away from loved ones, but when I have my 2, 4, 5 month straight vacation, I get to spend, it's you know, you always hear quality over quantity. And so when I'm on vacation, and even though my family, you know, my wife, they're still working, but on their days off, I can completely devote myself to them on their days off and give them 100%, because I don't have work and I typically don't have other things going on because I'm on vacation. So, you know, 5 days out of the week are completely to myself to get things done. And then the 2 days off that my wife or my family has off, I can completely devote to them because I have nothing else to do. And it's really nice having that quality time over seeing your spouse 2 hours a night or 1 hour a night. Some people some couples don't even have a day off together. So that's all they get is like an hour or two when they get home at night, and then they have to go to bed. Like, that sucks. But to have, you know, for me, when it's my wife's day off, she gets 2 days off a week, those days I can completely give to her 100% all day long. If she wants to do her own thing, she's more than welcome to. But our relationship is great, so I don't think there's ever a time where we don't want to spend time with each other. Also probably because I'm gone for at least 6 months out of the year, so makes her value my time just as much as I value hers. Okay, on to the next one. I kind of already spoke about this as a pro as well, the food. But I'm gonna add to this the food and the room. And to add to that even more, I don't pay for food on here. I don't pay to sleep on this bed. I don't pay for this room. Okay? So that's a huge part, is when you come to a ship, if you don't have mortgage payments, rent payments, car payments, or whatever, you have all the money you're making here, you could just save. I mean, I still have, you know, my bills, my mortgage, my car payments, my insurance and all that, but I don't have to pay for gas every week. I don't have to pay for food every single week. I don't have to pay for lunches, dinners. I'm not going into stores on a regular basis and seeing things and I'm like, oh, let me buy that. Oh, let me buy that. I'm not going into stores or anything, so I save a whole lot more money being on the ship. And I mean, that kind of leads to my next one that I wrote down, is being able to save in, this light's not working out. What did I write? I knew it led from the savings. Being able to save being able to save in general. I'm an idiot. So yeah, you know, I'm not paying for food daily. I don't pay for any food that I eat here. I'm not paying to sleep here. I still have to pay for the house at home for my old lady to sleep in, but I'm not paying for all the extra stuff. So just savings in general, when I'm on the ship, it's like I don't even have to think about it, and I end up just stacking money away. Because I'm not going, like I said, I'm not going to the stores. I'm not buying $2, $3 things here and there, or a drink here and there, or, you know, spending 20 bucks here, 20 bucks there. I don't spend any money when I'm on the ship. So it's being able to save the money as a sailor comes so easy. It's ridiculous. I got 2 more things. My camera's gonna die here any minute. So another big pro to me is actually the time to myself. You know, and I think it should be everybody's pro. I love the time with my old lady and my family. Having time to myself though, and I think it's the same for everybody, having time just to yourself is so important to just be in yourself and not have any other distractions around you. You know, you're, in a way, like, I don't want to get too cheesy with it, but you know, we all have to find ourselves. We have to find who we are, and I'm by myself every single day. I'm like, sure, I work with some guys here and there, but even when I'm on the bridge working and it's me and the second mate, you know, there's a whole lot of time of just not talking, complete silence, where I'm just in my head, you know, and that it can sometimes be a good thing to just be in your head by yourself, to really go over your life and what you're doing, what your priorities are, you know, where everything is going. So I put that in a pro, you know, having my own time that I can just think about life. My last thing, I'm gonna put it on a pro, but it's not a big pro to me, but traveling. Being a sailor, you get to travel. You know, a lot of people ask me why I don't travel more. Well, you gotta think of it this way. If you're a sailor and you're seeing the world, you're not making as much money. Sure, I would love to travel to all these exotic places and all these exotic countries, but I know that not all of those ships pay as high as some of these closer coastal US ships. So I'm here for the money, but I still do get to travel. You know, I've never been up to Anchorage, Alaska until this ship. Well, actually, I did go up last ship, but I wasn't allowed to go ashore because of the pandemic. So this ship, I have been able to go ashore, and I've been able to walk around Anchorage, and it's not like it's going through Europe, but I never been to Anchorage, so it's just nice seeing new places. It doesn't matter where it is in the world. So travel is always a pro. You know, you get to see different places, and if you're not thinking about the money too much, then you could potentially travel the world, you know. And yeah, there's still a lot of ships that travel all over the world. I'm talking to a couple guys that are, of course, my camera died. So yeah, I got buddies and friends that are sailors that they're all over. They're in the Middle East, they're in Europe, they're in Africa, and they're literally all over. So you will, South America as well. I got a buddy down in South America. If you want to become a sailor to travel, that's going to be a big pro. You might not get the time you think you're going to get though. So if you just want to be able to walk around for a few hours and see, you know, the local areas, you'll get to do that. Don't get a misconception or a thought that you're becoming a sailor and you're going to travel the world and you're going to go to these foreign countries and have all this time to explore these countries, because you're typically only going to have about 5 or 6 hours, and then you're going to have to go back to the ship. You might get lucky and the ship might be there for 2 or 3 days for some odd reason, but you still have to work. It's not just a free ride to foreign countries. You still have to work on the ship. So between you working on the ship, and if you're going to town, maybe you're giving up your overtime, then you're getting paid even less. And now you're trying to travel around a foreign country, things might be cheaper, but you gotta prioritize, is it for the travel or is it for the money? What are you doing it for? That's getting into another subject though. I hope you enjoyed my pros and cons, or my cons and pros. Hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share, and I'll see you in the next video.